Welcome, everyone, to Season 5, Episode 15 of the Hall of Fame Show. And this is kind of an impromptu show. I'll explain that a little bit later. I'm Kirk Buchner, along with Evan Nolan, and we run NotInHallOfFame.com, along with the United States Athletics Hall of Fame. We have accumulated quite a few votes for that from our nominating committee. We're waiting on a few more. And come July...
we have like 5 outstanding votes we're waiting for just to get
right. Yeah, and once we get those in, we are going to add those to the holdover nominees. We will do a big show sort of announcing that. We're really super duper excited about that. And it's I don't, as we're sort of doing this, I don't like to use the word amateur, but Evan and I are amateurs learning as we go.
Mm-hmm. I'll say we were amateurs 4 years ago. Now we're like rookie ball people.
Yeah, we made it to single A.
Well, maybe the extended spring training single A. We're still in Sarasota. So
okay. Either way, there's still some ways to go, but Evan and I, we do this every week, but then we realized sometimes, there's not a whole lot to talk about. And sometimes we were just yammering on about nothing. And then sadly, a very important man passed away in the world of basketball today. And then a couple other things sort of came, and we decided to record now instead of next week. So I think as Evan and I, because we actually planned this, look at us go.
We had a 3-minute conversation, guys. Don't get too excited.
For us, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
I cleared out the 40th floor of this beautiful, opulent, not in Hall of Fame tower that the city of Seattle has given us.
There you go. I know we have the very important depth. We'll get to that in a second. Let's just start with the Hall of Fame news, I guess, only because I'm a Patriots fan, if nothing else.
Yeah, let's do that.
So let's get that one out of the way. Today is 6/12/24, which means with the 6 championships won by number 12 and his number being retired in 2024, it's nothing else we do about that part. Tom Brady's retirement ceremony took place today in Foxborough. John Cena opened it, which was interesting. They had a whole bunch of video of him signing stuff, and someone brought like a very realistic, like they said it was a toy goat. It seemed like a taxidermied goat with with like a Patriots handkerchief or neckerchief on, and Brady was like, "That's a little creepy, dude," but he signed it anyway. But they announced that they're officially, unsurprisingly, retiring Brady's number. I mean, no one else is going to be number 12 for the Patriots. And that they're going to unveil a 12-foot tall statue outside of Gillette Stadium. Again, that's the Patriots have retired numbers a little unnecessarily, a little willy-nilly at the beginning of the franchise. No offense to Jim Lee Hunt and Bob D. But their names don't necessarily resonate that much outside New England.
Portland Trailblazers. Sorry.
Oh, well, yeah. At least there's someone who played for the team, unlike other franchises we know. But anyway, but they're retiring his number, and he's getting a 12-foot statue, and that's
in the numerology behind all of this. I'm sure it's not a coincidence. Nice English, Kirk. That it's a 12-foot statue, and this is announced on June 12th.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they did 6/12, because usually this happens the ceremony usually happens in August or September every year. They didn't even do an election this year like they normally did, because why? And why have like Brady and then someone else later? It doesn't make any sense. Do Brady this year, you got plenty of time, hopefully, to get everybody else. So you're looking at folks like Logan Mankins is still out there as someone who hasn't gotten in. I mean, we still got people from the championship teams who are out there. Matthew Slater will be up soon. Vinatieri will be eligible next year.
It's better for them too.
Yeah, exactly. Let them have their day. Like we said, the Patriots do just about as good a job with the Hall of Fame as any franchise in North American sports. So, but it was a good job by them. By the way, in case you were wondering, for those at home, the numbers retired by the Patriots: number 12 for Tom Brady. The last number they retired was number 78 in 2001. Do you know who that was for?
No.
Bruce Armstrong, longtime Patriot offensive lineman. I don't have the biggest problem with that, but maybe because I knew Bruce, or I knew like who he was. Mike Haynes, number 40, was retired in 96. In 1990, they retired John Hanna's number 73. 73 should remain retired. And I don't care what they do. That number, Hanna, and if you're only retired two, it's Hanna and Brady. Prior to that, they retired Steve Nelson, linebackers, number 1988. And before that, 71, Jim Lee Hunt and Gino Cappelletti, who was a longtime best player in the franchise for a while, and then Bob D in 68. So, like I said, if you're going to keep three, it's probably Brady, Haynes, and Hanna. But this is clearly a number that no one else should wear in Patriots history. So,
no, absolutely. And again, to echo what you said, I know you're the Pats guy, I'm not, but I've been on record saying I think I'll go a step further. I don't think anyone does it better right now than the New England Patriots. The Green Bay Packers, because they did that so early. The Red Sox, I think they did it early, but their bar is pretty low.
Their bar is real low for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I mean, this year it's Pedroia, Nixon, and Applebaum are getting in. Like those are all players I have no trouble with, but some of the others over the years, you're like, really?
Yeah.
But
I'd rather, and no offense to our good friend Vinny Las Manusa, who's like a big Hall guy. I'd rather they air that way for the franchises than the other way.
I agree. Yeah, franchises err on the side of more big halls, err on the side of being correct more than anything else. And of course, as we've known from our Hall of Fame project, what correct is very much up to interpretation.
Yes. I think
why no one's voting. Why no one other than me is voting for Bill Osmanski? I'll never understand.
I didn't vote for him the last one.
Oh no, I didn't vote for last time because I needed to get people cleared out so he still has a chance when we go later.
Yeah, Osmat, he's been a regular vote, and what we're referring to is Evan and I are part of. You can see that on nothallofFame.com, where we do a mock Pro Football Hall of Fame, as if the Pro Football Hall of Fame began in 1946. So
we're up to 63 now. We've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, which means I've got to come up with some other people for the coaches and contributors, because we paused that for a while.
And then for Steve Owen to get in, and then they elected Steve Owen as a player, which made no sense. But anyway, we digress.
I thought I made that kind of obvious when I said 63 and put that, but whatever.
Yeah, I get it.
I might share this stuff. Doesn't mean I agree with all of it.
Yeah, going back to Brady and the Patriots. So like, this is the right thing to do. And Belichick was there. Belichick and Brady seem to have buried whatever hatchet they have, and then
temporarily.
I think they have. I think Belichick realized now he was wrong. He thought Brady was done. He wanted to move on for the sake of the team. Turns out Brady wasn't actually done. And I think there's a lot of professional admiration between the two, and I think that will heal over time. That hatchet was buried, and then Kraft undug it and just continually sticks it in Belichick's back for reasons I don't quite understand. But anyway, so yeah, that was the actual Hall of Fame news that we have. Now we should really probably talk about the folks we lost, and let's build up to the big name.
Build up to that one?
Yeah, let's build up to it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead then.
All right, so let's start with astronaut William Anders passed away at the age of 90. Probably took the most famous photograph of Earth from the moon, called Earthrise. It's the one you always see from stuff. But he was 90 years old. Ended up later being a ambassador to Norway, believe it or not, for a while.
Okay.
Also, you know how much I love character actors. Did you ever see The French Connection?
I have, but it was so long ago, I don't remember a lot of the players in it.
Okay, so French Connection starts when there's heroin being smuggled in the United States, $32 million worth, if I remember correctly. And Gene Hackman's character figures out what's going on by following a young couple, the Buca family. And Mr. Buca himself, Tony Lobianco, passed away at the age of 87. One of those faces you've seen in like everything in the 70s and 80s, and then he disappeared. But yeah, he was 87 years old. From the world of music, we lost a couple. Francois Hardy, who had a hit back in 1965 with, she was from France, with All Over the World. Also acted in Grand Prix. She passed away from laryngeal cancer
Mm.
at the age of 80.
Oh,
Uh,
for a singer too. That must have been like a kick in the.
yeah. Another one of the great songwriters out there passed away, Mark James, probably best known for writing Hooked on a Feeling.
Oh, Ooga
Also,
Chaka Ooga. Sorry.
yes, that one. Also, Suspicious Minds. Although the Hooked on a Feeling one that he wrote was the BJ Thomas version, uh, which
Oh.
didn't really have the full Ooga Chaka. It was covered again. And he also wrote one of the greatest country songs of all time, won the country song Grammy Award for Song of the Year and Best Country Song in 1983, Always on My Mind, the Willie Nelson song.
Mm.
So he wrote three of the most important songs of the last 100 years. So Suspicious Minds, Hooked on a Feeling, and You're Always on My Mind. But he passed away at the age of 83. From the world of figure skating, Hall of Fame figure skating coach Frank Carroll passed away at the age of 85, originally from Worcester, Massachusetts, and a graduate of Holy Cross, where the same place my dad went. The coach of Linda Fratiani, Michelle Kwan, and Evan Lysacek, all of whom won the World Championships. Lysacek, of course, also won the gold medal in 2010. But he passed away at the age of 85. He actually, as a junior, won the bronze medal at the 1959 U.S. Championships, so he's a pretty good skater himself.
Okay.
Yeah, he actually barely missed. He had just gone pro before the Sabina crash that killed the entire U.S. team. So he just missed being in that crash.
Okay.
Which is one of those things I should have known about, by the way.
Yeah.
Researching our stuff, I didn't realize it because one of the elementary schools in my hometown is named Vincent Owen School, named after the figure skater Vincent Owen, who crashed in that or died in that plane crash. So I should have known it was my hometown. But yeah, that flight, if you don't know anything about it, that whole thing's ridiculous. But the entire U.S. team, men, women, coach, everyone died in the Sabina Flight 548 crash in 1961. So he had been on the team and just decided to go pro and join the Ice Follies. And so he missed it by about 3 weeks. Having that thing. Also passing away, Ron Dudek, who played linebacker for the Redskins from 74 to 81. He passed away at the age of 73. Also from football, we lost Marvin Upshaw, older brother of Gene Upshaw. Also played in the NFL for 9 seasons himself with the Browns, Kansas City Chiefs, and St. Louis Cardinals. 21st pick in the first round of 1968 draft. He passed away at the age of 77. And College Football Hall of Famer Doug Porter, who was won 4 SIAC championships in 82, 83, 91, and 92 with Fort Valley State. He passed away at the age of 94. He was inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame in 2008. Also passing away, the voice of the Duke Blue Devils, Bob Harris, did their 40 seasons as play-by-play broadcaster at Duke. 456 consecutive Duke football games and 1,358 consecutive basketball games.
Imagine your brother must know him.
I bet he probably does. There's no way he doesn't because they were both ACC announcers at the same time. Yeah. But he passed away at the age of 81. Who of Alzheimer's disease. So then we lost 3 basketball famers. We'll start with Robert Hughes. Robert Hughes is inducted Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame back in 2017. The winningest coach in men's high school basketball history. He was the winningest coach in basketball history of all time, but it's now only men's. Lita Andrews passed him for women's. But he was winning percentage at the Prairie View Interscholastic League. He was 373 and 84 for an 816 winning percentage. And then at the University Interscholastic League in Texas, he was 960 and 163 for an 855 winning percentage. So he was worse in California. He only won 81% of his games.
That's
Texas. Yeah, total number of 1,416 victories in his career. But yeah, he passed away at the age of 96. Was originally an airline mechanic before he started volunteering to coach high school basketball.
Love
And I
stories like that.
think did a pretty good job at it. Also passing away, member of the 67 NBA champions that broke the Celtics streak, and a member of just inducted into the inaugural Chicago Bulls Ring of Honor earlier this year, Chet Walker, passed away at the age of 84. 7-time NBA All-Star, all-rookie first team in 63. Numbers retired by the Bradley Braves. Very, very, very good player. Played basically half his career with the Syracuse Nationals / Philadelphia 76ers, and the other half of his career is with the Bulls. 12th overall pick in 62, which was the second round, by the way, back in 1962, to show how few teams there were. But one of the great players of the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, also too, arguably really the first major star Chicago had.
Yeah, actually held the team record for points scored in a game for a while. He scored 56 points against the Cincinnati Royals in 1972. So he had that record for quite a while. I think it was broken by Jordan. So
yeah, I mean, like it's like one of those things where you go from, I guess, the penthouse to the outhouse, which is kind of crazy when you think about Chicago, that for a period of time that they didn't have an NBA team. But
yeah,
that was the case. Chicago, but I believe they came into existence in 66, and I think he got traded there in 69.
that makes sense. He was traded there in 69. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just goes to like, oh God, like going from the Sixers to the Bulls at that point in time. It's a step down, for sure, but that's where he finished his career. And, the city loved him. I mean, like if you were going to a Bulls game in that period, you're going to see Chet Walker.
Yeah.
I think also too, when did he get into the Hall of Fame? Later than he probably
later. He got in the Hall of Fame in
he had to wait like 20 years or something.
2012.
Okay, yeah. So like way longer than he should have.
He was 72 when he got elected.
Okay,
so.
yeah. And then I guess we have the hammer here. Oh man. Probably if you were to do it, like we love these bar debates, which is kind of how this whole thing started, right?
Yeah.
If I were to say, okay, Evan, come up with somebody who is a Hall of Famer, an elite player, somebody who is the top 50 all time, but might have exceeded this as an executive.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jerry West.
Right. But I'm sure maybe there's somebody I'm not thinking of, but he's the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah. I mean, his work with the Lakers and the Grizzlies, and a few others. I mean, he's the logo.
Yeah, he's the literal silhouette of the National Basketball Association logo. As I didn't realize, like I knew a lot about his career. I didn't know much about his college career. So I was looking at that today, after he passed. So, taking West Virginia to places that they had no business going, winning the most outstanding player in a Final Four, despite being on a losing team. That doesn't happen to a lot of people. When the 59 Pan American Games as in gold, 1960 gold for Team USA in the Olympics, taken second overall by Minneapolis, but then they go to Los Angeles. We never played in Minnesota. I guess I never played there at all, unless West Virginia ever played there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. What was it? I'm trying to remember. Is it 10-time first team All NBA or 9? It's up there.
He was hold on one second. He was 14-time All-Star, 10-time first team, 2-time second team,
right?
4-time All Defensive team, first team, 1-time All Defensive second team.
I think what had us like. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I said led the league in scoring in 70, led the league in assists in 72. Remember the 35th, 50th, and 75th anniversary teams. 2-time Assistants All-American, won the Presidential Medal of Freedom. 8-time NBA champion as an executive, 2-time Executive of the Year.
I wonder how he felt in '69. So the Lakers lose to Boston,
Mhm.
and I guess was that Bill Russell's last year as a player?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. But then he wins MVP. So he's Finals MVP when that happens. And I wonder if he sort of like had deja vu. Like I'm sure he had to, because like 10 years after like winning the Final Four MVP on a losing squad. Thankfully for him, he did win in '72, so he did win as a player
Yeah.
when he defeated the Knicks. His executive career, again, like you were sort of like saying, was probably just so outstanding. A coach for 3 years with the Lakers, then a scout, and then a high-end, the top executive, pretty much really the architect of the Showtime Lakers, and then the man who's laid out the blueprint for the early success of the 2000s. How did he get like? Did he leave on his own accord, or just wanted a new challenge, or did the bus?
That I that I'm not 100%
Okay,
sure. I'd have to double check that.
yeah. So maybe if you're looking at that, just what he did with Memphis, that itself, Memphis was such a sad sack. Not long after they relocated from Vancouver. Oh, by the way, Memphis, there's no grizzly bears there. Change your name, please. But anyway, it's
I mean, it should be the Memphis Blues, but that, St. Louis is right across the way with the hockey team. So,
well, it's not the worst name, Utah Jazz. But anyway, uh, just bringing them to respectability. I mean, I can't imagine. Okay, like, hey, I know you're Jerry West, but this is Memphis. And then later, years later, you brought up Jordan. It's like, yeah, I know you're MJ, but I don't want to play in Charlotte.
yeah, it said that he departed the Lakers at the end of the 2000 season after they won his sixth championship as executive,
Mhm.
and laid down the foundation of three-peat, which they won three from
Yeah.
2000, 2002. And then in 2002 became general manager of the Grizzlies because he wanted to see what it would be like to take over a franchise that had not experienced much success and see if he could make a difference. So it seems like it was fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? Fairly amicable.
Yeah. Oh, amicable. Okay, great. Also, too, the last two titles he won, I don't know how much hands he had in there with Golden State,
Mm-hmm.
because he won, was it 2015 and 2017. So I imagine he was still active when he passed away, because he was a consultant with the Clippers.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I assume he was still
Yeah,
employed.
I don't know. I don't know what he passed of. So,
I mean, I know that it just said like his Clippers thing from that to 2024. So I'm assuming he was still on the Clippers payroll.
yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
yeah, that I'm not 100% sure of. I do know he did not like his depiction in Winning Time.
I couldn't watch anymore. You told me about it. I watched a bit and I said, nah, you know what? This is just too fictional for me.
Yeah. So, also won gold medal in that 1960 Olympic team. So I don't know if you brought this up. I forgot. So
yeah. So twice already in the Hall of Fame. Part of the inaugural class of the College Basketball Hall of Fame. Already twice inducted. He was about to be inducted a third time as an executive. And I remember you and I saying to each other when he was nominated, then eventually got in, like, we just assumed he was already in this capacity.
yeah.
How do you not assume that?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Godspeed. One of the
Absolutely.
greatest athletes of all time. One of our inaugural nominees didn't get into our first class, but he's
Still
not
can
going
vote for him.
more than two more
Yeah.
to get in. So
Yeah, actually, I think maybe we can add him as an executive contributor, possible as a nominee, because he's
fair
not
enough.
currently. I'm the one who sort of put that together. And again, like Evan and I said, we're learning as we go, and you kind of go from a list of existing inductees, and I skipped over him in my head, and I shouldn't have.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So usually at this point we do the elevator and the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't know if you have.
Can we pause for a second? I just need to blow my nose.
So I'm going to skip the elevator until next week because realistically, I think that Evan and I will probably do that together because I think there's going to be a whole lot to discuss after the finals, both the NBA and the NHL, which looks to be one-sided as we're recording. We'll see how that sort of plays out. Uh, Obviously, there's a lot to be had. I don't know if you've got a good, bad, and ugly because we weren't going to even record tonight. If not,
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I do want to bring up is the whole weird. First of all, I think hot dog eating contests suck, just in general.
no,
But
go
like,
ahead. I was, I, because I used Joey Chestnut as an elevator up once because he put someone in a chin lock while winning.
yeah, just yeah, but like, just the whole Joey Chestnut on being banned from the Fourth of July competition just to announce that he is going to do a one-on-one against Kobayashi. Just silly. I don't care enough, but it just seems stupid. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
So that's all I need to say.
Uh, okay. So I don't have the elevator, but I do. Last week I talked a lot about Caitlin Clark. She made the news again because she was snubbed from the United States Olympic team. I want to sort of like bring this out and just sort of like put a little paint of reality here. First off, to the people who are saying, and there's a few, you know who you are. Well, maybe you don't because you're not watching this, but maybe you should. That Caitlin was snubbed because the committee who decides this are five black people, five black women, and the
Okay.
white. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
there's the five people in question. I don't know that you can necessarily make that assumption based on things that they may have done, maybe with one, but still, that one person, that's Dawn Staley, who's been probably one of Caitlin's biggest supporters, from what I've
Mm-hmm.
heard her say. Behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes, I don't know, but I mean, but let's just point this in reality. Actually, no, before I sort of like go in there. Also, too, a lot of the people who were saying that are also people who don't know anything about women's basketball
Yeah.
and are not actually seeing stat lines and actual performance. Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in the sport. That doesn't mean she's the best player. And that goes through virtually almost anything that you can come, like any topic or any profession. You can sort of find that. Caitlin, okay, look, when we point out the entire thing with the women's basketball team, it's a loaded team. It's very
Mm-hmm.
loaded, especially at guard, which is
Mm-hmm.
what she plays. Now, I will say that there is one player on that team that Caitlin's significantly better than. That's Brittany Griner.
Mm-hmm.
Griner is rusty. She's beaten up. She's not the same player. Obviously, she's gone through a traumatic experience. Forget what I think about her personally, because I'm not a fan of hers personally, but that's irrelevant. If I'm building a team and I'm loaded at guard and I don't have a lot of big people in the paint,
Mm-hmm.
Griner's more valuable to me for this than Caitlin Clark is.
Agreed. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. I mean, here's the thing: like, Caitlin Clark is an incredible player, but it's entirely possible based on where she is in her career. Like, she's now been a professional for 2 months.
13
Right?
games as of this recording.
Yeah. That this is just a lot for where she is now. And it's very likely that with the quality of people on the team, she's going to spend a lot more time on TV with her on the bench than her actually in the game. And
That
honestly,
would be her role at that point.
that's not a distraction that the team necessarily needs. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yes, actually, that was going to be the second part of what I was going to say. So
Oh,
let's
I'm
talk
sorry.
about. No, sorry needed. No, it's a perfect segue. Let's talk about distractions. Uh, Colin Kaepernick in 2017 received one offer from an NFL team, the Denver Broncos. He elected not to because he felt lowballed, which they did. Nothing against the Broncos for doing it. You're GM. That's your job, is to get
Yeah.
as much value as you can. And I'm not going to go into the whole Kaepernick thing, but realistically, you and I were business partners on the USA Hall of Fame. So in 2017, if that's, let's say, for some magical miracle that we're owners of an NFL team, you couldn't have convinced me to sign Kaepernick because he would have been too much of a distraction. You could, like, I don't know if you would have tried, but at that point, where he was and with the climate, hell no, we're not doing it. Caitlin Clark right now is that massive distraction if she was on that USA team, because everything would have been about her. Everything. Stephen A. Smith sort of like talked about how the US have missed a huge marketing opportunity. Yeah, that's true. The 5 women tasked to sort of put this all together, they're not looking at marketing, they're looking at putting a team that's going to win. Now you have a lot of these other women, let's be blunt, a lot of them don't like her or they're jealous of her. And we talked about that last week, and we understand why that is, especially for someone like Diana Taurasi, who might be the GOAT of the WNBA. Not only that, she was somebody who took a year off of the WNBA because she wasn't getting paid. So she did the whole year overseas. She's like, I'm not doing it. A lot of these women don't like her. They don't want to play with her. And what's the whole point of a team? To play together. Caitlin Clark has not played well enough this year to necessarily remove all doubt. She hasn't. You put, and a lot of people will put her against Taurasi. Taurasi's 42. Caitlin's 22. Their stat line's not much different than each other, with the exception that Caitlin's assist numbers are way higher. Actually, Diana's numbers are for assists are really bad for her. But Caitlin, she's a turnover machine. She will set the record. She will shatter the record probably within 7 games of the season ending of turnovers. Also, she takes a lot of 3-point shots, and it's beautiful where she can take it. It's gorgeous to watch. But she's number 1 in 3-point attempts. She's not in the top 10 in 3-point field goal percentage. Or the cohesiveness of this team, leaving her off, because so they go. Let's say they find a spot for her. And initially, and I tweeted this, I thought, ideally, you want to sort of like have that young person who's going to be there the next 10, like 3 Olympics on that. Diana was as a rookie. Diana was also third place in MVP voting as a rookie.
Right.
Caitlin Clark will not be. She just won't be, which also might be part of the contempt that Taurasi has, which I get. And it's got to piss her off even more that everyone's sort of like going against her. Realistically, if I'm, again, running Team USA, what's best for Team USA? Well, taking out the distraction all right, so you just beat, I don't know who else is in, you just beat Canada by 20 points. And Caitlin was in there for 4 minutes. How do you think she liked? How do you think she looked? Asia Wilson, the best player in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
They don't need that. They don't need it. And what worries me, and the United States is probably going to win. They should. They're clearly the best team, but things happen. The ball bounces funny. We know that.
Their group is Japan, Belgium, and Germany, by the way.
Okay. Realistically, the only country that can knock them off is Australia.
Who's with Canada, by the way. It's Canada, France, Nigeria, and Australia. And the other group is Serbia, Spain, China, and Puerto Rico.
Right. So you and I bet a lot. If you were to say, okay, I'm taking the United States and I have field, to say, okay, you give me 10-1 odds. That's the only way I would take it. But there's still that chance. And the other women, again, if they don't necessarily want to play with her at this point, and she hasn't played to the level where you can't not take her, and she's not there yet. She just isn't.
I get it. Yeah, I don't really have a problem with this whatsoever. I don't think it's good for Caitlin Clark to be at the Olympics. I mean, she's gone directly from a college season directly into a pro season with no real break. Having a little bit of a break, honestly, would probably be good for her game.
That's what Jamel Hill said, and she's right. And I shit on Jamel a lot, but when they're right, they're right. Jamel is correct. Jamel, as much as a lot of people can shit on her, and I have too, Jamel's been all in on women's basketball for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
She's a big supporter of that. And it's what she's saying on this sort of aspect is true. It's the saddest thing, and what worries me, let's say the US loses,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't win. The people who will come out,
Of course.
you know what I mean? And it's that's the shit that worries me, especially now that I live in the United States. The constant division over fucking nothing. We're worse off. So I'm going to be 52. I feel that racially we're worse off than when I was 21. How, or maybe it just feels that way. I'm sure that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easier to,
Social media,
yeah,
cloud,
social media and everything else. I mean, 31 years ago, it would have been what, 1993? So, I mean, 1993, the first thing comes to mind from 93 is the LA riots, or is that 92? It was 92.
That was 92. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Like,
maybe a poor example, but just, I guess, in terms of sports, I'm like stuck on stupid here on the absolute hate that this woman gets. And I can't imagine what she goes through. Actually, before we sort of like recorded, or was it during? Uh, who's got more white guilt right now than Caitlin Clark for something that she probably doesn't know what to do with?
yeah, she's become Max Schmeling in many ways.
Oh shit, that's good.
That just came to me
Yeah,
immediately,
yeah.
where she's being forced to represent something that she really doesn't seem to have any interest in representing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. For those wondering where Evan's going with that, that's fantastic. Max Schmeling was the German boxer who lost to Joe Louis. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe when Schmeling fought Louis, that was when Germany was part of Nazi Germany.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And Schmeling was not. I believe Schmeling. No, I believe I know. Schmeling became friends with Joe Louis afterwards. So they.
Very good friends, like incredible friends. Schmeling took care of like a lot of Joe Lewis's, a
Right,
lot of
that's
Joe
right. Yeah,
Lewis's
yeah.
medical stuff. They were like incredible friends. Same thing with Jesse Owens
Hmm?
and I can't remember the German guy. But and again, I am not comparing Nazi Germany
No, no,
to,
no, no.
but like Max Schmeling was basically put up as like the great white hope, right? And in many ways, Caitlin Clark has gotten that, and that's given her, which is something she has not in any way courted. And it's giving her like fans on one side and detractors on another side that have nothing to do with anything that she's actually interested
and in
in.
some
So,
ways, there's that other layer to it because the WNBA is heavily LGBT,
yes, it is.
and she's not. So she's getting hate on two fronts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the weirdest thing. I can't imagine the mind fuck that's going on in her head
And yet she seems to be handling everything
as
pretty
well.
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's what, 21, 22?
22.
22. I would not be handling things as well at 22.
I think especially too. I mean, you're aware of all that situation, when you're a basketball player, but she played on a predominantly white team. I think we talked about this last week in
Yeah.
Ottawa. Grew up in Des Moines.
Yeah.
It's a different world, and here she is, who probably never, like, again, I don't know her. I don't know this woman at all. I know that her character does not reflect anything that I've seen. Again, I don't know. I mean, that's probably. I remember when OJ sort of did all that stuff. Like, what do you mean OJ did this? Who knew? I had no idea. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that is sort of like this weird spot that we're at in culture. And it's also the big reason why I don't tweet a lot of things at Trudeau and other people anymore, because I don't like the people who might agree with me on certain things.
I get
So,
it. Yeah, I no longer get into fights on the internet. There's no value. Like seeing who agrees with you and disagrees with you is depressing either way. So
right? So, and here she is, and like just stuck in the middle of all of this. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. At least when somebody came out, I don't want to say from nothing, but when Tiger Woods sort of like took over the whole world in golf, Tiger was at least the best at that point, and Caitlin's not. And I don't remember any. Well, I think I sort of like touched about the last week. Tiger's peers didn't necessarily dislike him or hate him because of his race. They might have disliked him because he was better than them. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. This is not a 30 for 30. This is like a 60 for 1,000. I don't know.
yeah, there's gonna be some stuff.
But yeah, I just wanted to sort of like throw support for Team USA because the more I think about it, the more it makes more sense. And I'm hoping the United States wins only because this shit can't exasperate anymore.
Yeah, it's done.
It's so screwed up.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that as cultures we're better than this. I guess we're not, but I want to hope, Evan. I really do.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I think we're both agreed that her being off the Olympic list has nothing to do with her as a person and everything to do with what her role would be on the team and what the team actually needs.
Right. And I think there was also
And,
a report too that going where they thought it would just be, again, too distracting, where the hyper fans of hers, again, all the new fans coming in who don't get that she's not the top dog. She's not.
yeah.
She might be one day.
She's not there yet.
No.
Yep, she's not there yet.
And I hope she is, because that's only good for the sport.
Agreed.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I just sort of like wanted to give my 2 pennies. Oh, wait a minute. My 2 pennies are now worth more. I had 2 Canadian pennies. Now that's 2 American pennies. Actually, we don't have pennies in Canada. So there you go.
Yeah, loonies and toonies, right?
We have loonies and toonies, yes, but no pennies. We got rid of that a long time ago.
Yeah, so.
Anything to close with?
Other than those recording, it will already be out that the Celtics took a 3-0 lead. They were up 21 points, and then it got all the way down to 2, and then Luka fouled out, and they ended up winning by 7. So they have won. They scored 106 points. So all those scoring 130 points in January is well over. As someone pointed out, in the last 14 finals games, only 3 times has the team even scored 110. But yeah, the Celtics have kept the Mavs under 100 points in all 3 games of the series. And I mean, the Celtics are capable of blowing anything, as they almost lost a 21-point lead tonight. But the last time they lost 4 in a row was when Kyrie quit on the team in the 2018 second round against the Bucks. We won game 1, and then Kyrie absolutely quit on the team, and the Bucks swept us on the way out with Kyrie. So that's the last time we lost 4 in a row. I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying it's hard for me to imagine a scenario in which the Celtics lose 4 straight games.
But you're helping the Boston committee. You're helping Mayor Michelle Wu plan the party route.
If she needs my help, the one thing I will say about Boston, and I'm knocking on all wood when I say this, they're very familiar with championship parades. So, although it's been a while, we haven't had one since 2018. It has been 8 years, Kirk. Wait, is that right?
Okay. Yeah, you know who my fandom is, Evan? So here's my response to that. When?
Yeah. So last one we won, I guess technically we won in 2019. So it's been since 2020, right? We had the Super Bowl parade in 2019. So it's a 2018 season. So it's only been 5.5 years, but it sucks. What can I say?
There you go. So
hold on, I'm again crossing everything because It wouldn't surprise me if the Mavericks win game 4. It's hard for me to imagine necessarily sweeping this team, particularly if Luka fouled out. He's going to be furious next game. Oh, and by the way, just one other thing. The leading scorer for the Celtics was some guy named, I believe it was a guy named Jason Tatum. So I'm wondering if he's good now again. I know it's hard to figure out, but I'm just wondering if he's good again. So yeah, he went for 11 for 26 from the floor, but Luka went 11 for 27. So if Luka's really good, then I guess Tatum's just as good. But anyway.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure Kendrick Perkins has a take on that.
Oh, I hate that man so much. Like, if there's anyone who's been thrown out of the Celtics club, him or Kevin O'Connor for the Ringer, who after the Celtics lost a game to the Heat said that the Celtics would not get a single game against the Denver Nuggets. Maybe they shot one once really good, but if they get to the finals against the Nuggets, they're going to get swept. I'd like to say we're up 3-0 on the team that beat the Nuggets. And for all the Warriors fans out there, just again, if the Celtics win, the Warriors would have lost to the team that 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 lost the championship. So calm down a little bit here, folks.
I'm sure we'll have a lot to say more on the Celtics next week.
Yeah, well, hopefully good for me. I got my Celtics.
I got no problem.
Celtics glass. I got my. I won't tell you the color of my underwear, but it's green. I have my green Guar shirt on. I got my socks.
Oh yeah, it's the second time.
Yep, Boston. Got to wash them again because I don't believe in keeping stinky socks around. We'll wash them and hopefully they're good. And then as soon as the series is over, one way or the other, I'm shaving this beard. I've had it too long, so you'll get a new, fresh version of me for one of these next couple podcasts. So
I kind of have to keep a clean face now. Damn hair dye, because the carpet don't match the drapes.
All right. Well,
carpet. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I kind of did that backwards, and apologies for anyone who was sort of like thinking about my pubic hair.
It was 93 degrees here today, and even inside, I'm like, this is dumb. So I'm getting rid of this facial hair. So anyway.
There you go. Check out all the other shows here in the Buchnerverse. There's a lot more things coming up. Hopefully there's going to be some interviews. I'm hoping. I don't know yet, but I'm working on some other stuff behind the scenes. With that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, make the stay count because it never comes again. Take care.
Take care, guys.